imagine you are, the CEO of a multinational logistics company, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And you are on a 12-hour flight over the Atlantic. You're thousands of miles in the air, but you want an update on how the business is doing today.
Naturally, you can't just disconnect for 12 hours.
Exactly. So you pull out your phone, you tap an icon, and you literally just ask out loud, show me the best-selling products by profitability in the Riyadh branch last month.
Which is pretty amazing on its own, honestly.
It is. And instantly, this fully formatted multinational tax report just appears right there on your screen. But then right as you are looking at it, your in-flight Wi-Fi drops for like exactly 2 seconds.
Oh no, I know where this is going.
Yeah, the entire app immediately locks you out. The screen goes blank. There is absolutely no cache data, no offline mode. You are completely locked out. And the crazy thing is, it is entirely by design.
I mean, it sounds incredibly frustrating in the moment, especially on a plane. But that immediate lockout is actually, it's kind of the ultimate protective mechanism of a modern enterprise.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So today we are pulling apart this really comprehensive guide to the APS accounting and stock control software. And, on the surface, to a lot of people, this might just sound like another inventory tool.
Right, just another piece of software.
Yeah, but if you look closely at the source material we have today, this system is actually a masterclass in how modern businesses engineer their hierarchies.
Oh, absolutely. It is fascinating.
So for you listening, whether you are scaling a mid-sized business or, managing operations across 3 continents, or even if you are just fascinated by how data is guarded and deployed in the modern workplace, this is for you. We are going to look at how a system like this builds these sort of invisible walls between employees.
How it enables completely global remote work.
Exactly. And perhaps most importantly, how artificial intelligence is completely changing the way executives actually manage their companies.
But, to really understand any of that, you really have to start with those invisible walls you mentioned.
The permissions and stuff.
Yeah, because you cannot have a highly functional digital ecosystem without extremely strict, hard-coded rules about who gets to touch what data.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the manual goes really deep into the frontline roles first. So the sales team and the cashiers. And the core mechanism here is something called role-based access control.
Yes, or RBAC for short.
RBAC, got it. So how does this actually function in practice? Because, every app has a login screen.
Right, but role-based access control isn't just a basic login screen. It is a structural philosophy.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, in the APS architecture, permissions are surgically distributed so that an employee only interacts with the exact system components that are necessary for their immediate task.
So no poking around.
Exactly. There is no wandering down the digital hallway, so to speak. If you are a cashier ringing up a customer or like a salesperson writing an invoice, the system completely blinds you to the accounting backend.
Wow. When you say blinded, do you mean they literally cannot see the context of what they are selling?
I mean, completely walled off. A salesperson cannot view the company's profit margins on the items they're moving.
Wait, really? Not at all?
Not at all. They cannot access the historical financial ledgers, and they definitely cannot see any payroll data. Their interface is restricted purely to the transaction at hand.
It makes me think of a casino.
Oh, that's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, if you look at the card dealers on the casino floor, they represent your sales team. A blackjack dealer knows exactly what is happening at their specific table, right?
Right. They see the cards, they see the bets.
Exactly. They handle the chips, they interact with the players, they know the rules of the game they're currently running, but they absolutely do not have the keys to the underground vault.
No, of course not.
And they are definitely not looking at the casino's master ledger for the quarter to see if the house is profitable that day.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. The dealer's job is just the current hand, and the cashier's job is just a current sale.
But I have to push back here for a second.
Sure.
Because in the real world, outside of a casino, this sounds like it would create a massive operational bottleneck.
How so?
Well, what if a salesperson is trying to close, like a really huge B2B deal, right? And the client is disputing a price based on what they paid 3 years ago.
Right. They want a historical reference.
Yeah. Or what if the salesperson needs to negotiate a custom discount on the fly and needs to verify the profit margin so they don't lose the company money? If they are completely locked out of the historical ledgers and the profit margins, doesn't this strict restriction just totally freeze the business?
It is a really common concern, but you have to look at the psychology and, well, the security stakes here. This isn't about slowing things down. It is about mitigating risk and enforcing operational focus.
Okay, so protecting the company from its own employees.
In a way, yeah. By locking sales out of the accounting backend, the system prevents unauthorized ad hoc data manipulation right there on the floor.
Ah, okay, so no salesperson secretly tweaking a previous invoice to make a new deal look better to a client.
Exactly. But it also profoundly changes the internal politics of the office.
What do you mean by internal politics?
Well, think about it. It mitigates the risk of internal leaks regarding company profitability. If your sales team doesn't have the data on, say, warehouse overhead costs or executive salaries, they can't make assumptions or complain about the company's profit margins.
Oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. So it keeps the focus entirely on the work.
Yes, from a purely operational standpoint, giving a cashier access to back-end accounting data just creates noise and massive security vulnerabilities. It forces the dealer to stay at the table, focus strictly on the cards.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But if the front line is deliberately blinded to the raw numbers, who is actually legally responsible for making sure the math works?
Well, someone has to be.
Right. Who steps in when that data needs to bridge the gap between the sales floor and the actual bank?
That is where we shift to the underground vault in your casino analogy.
The people counting the money.
Exactly. That leads us directly to the accountant role. And their realm in the APS system is entirely different.
Yeah, reading the sources, the APS system grants pretty much comprehensive access to the accountant role. We are talking the heavy mechanics of the business.
The real core data.
Right, like the double entry daily journals, the trial balances, basically the raw financial heartbeat of the organization.
Yes. They have granular stock control access too, meaning they can track specific batches of inventory to monitor for shrinkage or loss or damage.
Which the sales team can't see.
Correct. And crucially, accountants have full access to payroll data. That includes things like Social Security contributions and all the automated tax calculations. They are the ones actually counting the chips in the back room.
But here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Oh, definitely.
Because historically, right, that accountant with the master keys had to be physically sitting in a locked office, probably down the hall from the CEO.
Surrounded by filing cabinets.
Exactly. You needed physical proximity to the paperwork. But the source material highlights how the APS system totally liberates the accountant from the physical office entirely.
That's a huge shift.
These roles are fully accessible via internet connections, whether they are locally at their desk, outside the building, at a coffee shop, or even entirely overseas.
The physical location of the accountant becomes completely irrelevant. They essentially become these sort of air traffic controllers of global capital.
Air traffic controllers of global capital, I like that.
Yeah.
And it perfectly reflects the modern, decentralized workforce we have today.
Oh, completely.
You know, you could have a mid-sized company where an accountant sitting in a small apartment in London is actively managing the payroll and inventory for branch locations in Dubai and Riyadh completely seamlessly.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just about the convenience of letting your accountant work in sweatpants from a coffee shop.
Right, there's a bigger reason.
It is about the intense pressure of global compliance. The APS system is specifically engineered to support multi-currency and multi-jurisdiction setups simultaneously.
Okay, wait, what does that actually mean mechanically? Because dealing with different international tax laws at the exact same time sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it is a nightmare if you try to do it manually. Let's look at the stakes here. The system integrates with extremely strict governmental frameworks.
Like what?
Well, like say TCA in Saudi Arabia for e-invoicing, or the ETA in Egypt.
Okay.
When that accountant in London hits enter on an invoice for the Riyadh branch, the APS system is instantly generating complex cryptographic signatures in milliseconds.
Cryptographic signatures.
Yes, to legally certify that tax document directly with the Saudi government in real time.
Wow. And if that math is off, what happens?
Well, if the math is off by even a fraction of a cent, or if the cryptographic hash is invalid for some reason, the company faces massive governmental fines.
Oh, wow. So they are really on the hook.
Absolutely. So that overseas accountant isn't just passively viewing data on a screen. They are actively utilizing the system as a global legal shield for the company.
That is intense.
They're balancing multi-currency ledgers and ensuring international tax compliance in real time from anywhere on Earth.
Okay, so we have a rigidly defined architecture so far.
Very rigid.
The sales team is walled off, focusing purely on current transactions. The accountants are anywhere in the world, holding the keys to the vault, acting as air traffic control for international tax law.
That's the setup.
But how does the person actually running the company synthesize all of this? I mean, if I am a manager, I do not want to learn how to generate a cryptographic hash.
No executive does.
But I desperately need to know if the Riyadh branch is profitable today. So how do I get that?
That is the exact friction the system tries to solve with the manager or supervisor role. Historically, an executive was entirely dependent on middlemen.
Oh, I know this feeling well.
Right. If you wanted to know your profit margins, you had to email that accountant in London, ask for a report, and wait 3 days.
Hey, can you run a pivot table for me by Friday? We have all sent that email, and we have all waited for the reply.
But in this architecture, the critical shift is independence. Managers no longer need to wait for accountants to build reports or ask sales employees for daily totals. They have full instant control to get data on their own.
Starting with the day-to-day administration, right? Because the sources detail how the system captures employee attendance.
Yes, via GPS-enabled check-ins from the employees' phones.
Right, and the manager just logs into their dashboard and approves the daily attendance without ever having to physically see a punch card or a sign-in sheet.
It streamlines the operational friction, absolutely. It is a huge time saver.
But let's be honest, approving timesheets isn't why you buy a cutting-edge system like this. The absolute star feature of the manager role, the thing that caught my eye immediately in the source material, is the AI voice chat.
Yes. This is where we see a true paradigm shift in how executives interact with business data.
It sounds almost like science fiction.
It does. The APS system includes a natural language processing, or NLP, module designed specifically for the mobile manager.
Right, so instead of clicking through complex drop-down menus or, trying to build a SQL database query on your tiny phone screen, you literally just talk to the system.
Exactly. The manual actually gives us the exact voice commands a manager can use.
Oh, let's hear them.
So a manager can just tap the microphone on their phone and say, "Show me the best-selling products by profitability in the Riyadh branch last month."
Just casually like asking a person.
Yes. Or they could say, "Compare payroll expenses between the Dubai and Riyadh branches in the last quarter."
Wow.
Or even something broad like, "What are the top 5 revenue accounts by profitability?"
Okay, hold on. Wait, I have to stop you there.
What's the issue?
I am incredibly skeptical of this.
Skeptical of the AI.
Yes, because we all know how AI works right now.
Yeah.
It hallucinates, right? It makes things up just to sound helpful.
Sure, large language models do that.
Exactly. So if I am the CEO, I am absolutely not trusting my multi-million-dollar payroll analysis to a chatbot that might confidently invent a fake tax bracket just to answer my question. I mean, how can a business possibly rely on this for real financial data?
That is a highly valid fear. If you are thinking about a standard open-ended generative AI like you might use to write an email or a blog post.
Right, like ChatGPT.
Exactly. But what's fascinating here is the specific mechanism of how this NLP module works. It is not generating text at all. It is acting as a translator.
A translator? Between what and what?
Between human speech and a rigidly structured SQL database.
Okay, walk me through that.
So when you ask for the best-selling products by profitability in Riyadh last month, the AI doesn't try to write a story or an essay. In milliseconds, it performs what is called entity extraction.
Entity extraction.
Yes. It maps the word profitability to a specific hard-coded financial table. It maps Riyadh to a strict location tag. And it maps last month to a precise date range.
Oh, I see.
It instantly translates your human curiosity into hard database code, runs that code against the raw data the London accountant has been legally certifying, and returns only the mathematical truth.
Okay, so it's not guessing about the data. It's just fetching the exact numbers without me having to know the actual coding language to ask for it.
Exactly. It's essentially a chief financial officer sitting right in your pocket.
That is wild. And I assume it formats it nicely, too.
Oh, yes. It formats that truth instantly. It generates a dynamic visual chart or a pristine PDF report right on your screen. It completely eliminates that 3-day wait for the accountant to build a pivot table.
Okay. That is incredibly powerful. But that brings me right back to my scenario at the very beginning of this deep dive.
The CEO on the flight.
Yes, the CEO on the 12-hour flight over the Atlantic. We mentioned the manager is doing all of this on a mobile device talking into their phone.
Right. The architectural anchor for all this managerial power, the AI chat and everything, is the APS Progressive Web App, or PWA.
Right. Now, for those who aren't software developers, a PWA operates on your mobile device through a web browser. You don't need to download it from the Apple App Store or Google Play. You just log in through a URL and it functions exactly like a native app on your phone screen.
It's very seamless.
But typically, the entire selling point of a progressive web app, the reason developers use them, is that it caches data. It saves a little snapshot of your information so that if you go into a subway tunnel or get on an airplane, you can keep working offline and it just syncs back up when you get internet again.
That is the standard behavior for most consumer PWAs, yes. Like note-taking apps or music players.
But the source material gives a massive, explicitly capitalized warning about
A
this.
very firm warning.
And we have to state this in absolutely no uncertain terms because it is a critical instruction from the manual. The APS PWA mobile app works online only. It does not support offline mode at all.
Zero offline capabilities.
And I just cannot wrap my head around that. In today's world, no offline mode at all.
It is a hard, non-negotiable constraint by design.
But what if a manager is on that long-haul flight without Wi-Fi and just wants to review some numbers? Or what if the local internet service provider in Riyadh goes down for 3 hours? Does the entire branch just grind to a halt because the cashier's app can't ping the server in London? Isn't a cached offline mode standard so people can actually do their jobs during an outage?
It sounds ridiculous if you treat this software like a simple note-taking tool or an email client.
Yeah.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, you have to remember what this system is engineered to protect.
Right, the financial heartbeat.
Exactly. We're talking about highly sensitive, globally synced data. Exact stock levels across multiple countries, real-time payroll, and those strict role permissions we discussed earlier.
The single source of truth.
Precisely. If you allow an offline mode, you are essentially allowing a user to download a static snapshot of the database to their local device. And in a fast-moving, multinational enterprise, aging data isn't just unhelpful, it is actively dangerous.
Actively dangerous. Walk me through what happens if they did allow it. Let's look at the alternative.
Okay, imagine the manager downloads their offline data on that flight over the Atlantic to review some numbers. They think they are being productive.
Right.
Meanwhile, back on the ground, a cashier in Riyadh makes a massive, unexpected bulk sale, completely wiping out the stock of your most profitable product.
So going back to our analogy, the dealer at the casino table moves a ton of chips.
Yes, the central database updates instantly, but the manager on the plane, looking at their offline cached data, still sees a warehouse full of inventory.
Because their phone hasn't talked to the server.
Exactly. So they land, connect to the internet, and try to execute a massive strategic decision. Maybe they promise a huge shipment to a new client in Dubai, based entirely on ghost inventory that no longer exists.
Wow. So an offline mode essentially introduces a parallel reality into the company.
Exactly. And a financial management system simply cannot tolerate parallel realities.
Yeah.
By enforcing an absolute online-only architecture, the system guarantees a single, unbreakable source of truth across all global roles.
That makes total sense when you put it like that.
If that cashier makes a sale in Riyadh, the manager in London needs to see the exact inventory drop the very second they ask the AI about it. If the local internet drops, yes, operations pause, because pausing operations is infinitely safer than executing legally binding transactions with fake data.
So if you aren't connected to the live nervous system of the company, you don't get to see the data, period.
Period.
Wow. Okay, when you frame it like that pausing operations is safer than parallel realities, it makes perfect sense. The lockout on the airplane isn't a bug, it is the ultimate feature for data integrity.
It really is a masterclass in deploying information exactly where it is needed and forcibly restricting it where it is not.
So to bring this all together, we have explored a really fascinating structural journey today. We started with the frontline sales team, deliberately walled off from the vault to ensure tight security and absolute focus on the customer.
Dealers at the table.
Right. And then we saw how accountants hold the keys to that global data, acting as air traffic control for multi-country legal compliance from anywhere with an internet connection.
Ensuring the company doesn't get massive fine.
Exactly. And finally, we explored how managers bypass the traditional bottlenecks entirely, using conversational AI to instantly translate their curiosity into actionable intelligence. And all of it is anchored by a ruthless online-only reality, to protect the absolute truth of the data.
The evolution of these systems really forces us to look at the daily friction in our own work lives.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Take a look at your own workplace. Think about the invisible walls around your desk. Consider who has access to what data and how that access shapes the office politics and your workflows. Are your frontline workers bogged down with historical data they don't actually need?
Or is there too much transparency causing noise?
Right. And more importantly, how much of your own week is wasted just being a middleman for information, waiting for emails with pivot tables attached?
That raises a profound question about the future of leadership itself, really.
How so?
Well, if an AI module can instantly parse complex financial variables, query a global database, and generate visual reports on demand without hallucinating, the role of a manager shifts entirely.
You don't have to gather the data anymore.
Exactly. You are no longer managing the gathering of information. You are solely managing the decisions based upon it. If your AI co-pilot handles the entirety of what happened, are you fully prepared to answer the question, what do we do next?
That is a heavy but incredibly exciting thought to leave on. When the architecture of the system gives you all the answers instantly, the only thing left to test is the quality of your own decisions. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking closely at the invisible structures around you and keep questioning the systems that run your world. Catch you next time.